They flew faster than the eye could see, faster than the sound of their own engines. These were machines born from ambition, fear, and genius. Aircraft that shattered records and redefined flight itself. But most of them, niched. From Cold War spy planes to billion-dollar passenger jets, this is the story of every supersonic plane ever built. And what happened to them? For as long as humans have flown, we've chased speed. From the Wright brothers' fragile biplanes to roaring jet engines, each generation pushed the limits a little further. But there was one limit that seemed impossible: the speed of sound. Pilots in the 1940s called it the sound barrier. At around 760 miles per hour, aircraft would shake, lose control, and sometimes break apart. Scientists thought it might be a physical wall, that no plane and no human could ever survive passing through it. Then, one man changed everything. October 14, 1947, Edwards Air Force Base, California. Test pilot Chuck Yeager climbed into a bright orange rocket plane called the Bell X-1, codenamed Glamorous Glennis. Moments later, dropped from the belly of a bomber, Yeager fired his engines, and at 43,000 feet, the world heard the first sonic boom. He had done it. Humanity had officially broken the sound barrier. That moment marked the beginning of a new age, the supersonic era. What followed would be decades of ambition, competition, and invention, as engineers tried not just to break the sound barrier, but to live beyond it. Once Chuck Yeager shattered the sound barrier, a new question emerged. How fast could we really go? The Bell X-1 had proven it was possible. Now the race was on to master supersonic flight, not just for records, but for control. The late 1940s and 50s became the experimental frontier of aviation. Every month a new design took to the skies, sleek rocket planes and silver darts built to challenge physics itself. Next came the Douglas D-5582 Skyrocket, a jet and rocket hybrid that reached Mach 2, twice the speed of sound, in 1953, piloted by Scott Crossfield. Each flight brought scientists closer to understanding the mysterious world beyond Mach 1. Shock waves, heat buildup, and the aerodynamic forces that could tear wings apart. As the Cold War intensified, speed became a weapon. Fighter jets like the Convair F-102 Delta Dagger and F-106 Delta Dart introduced the Delta Wing design, stable at high speeds and capable of climbing to 50,000 feet. These weren't just prototypes anymore. They were operational supersonic interceptors, standing guard against the threat of Soviet bombers. For the first time, the sound barrier was no longer a frontier. It was a battlefield requirement. Pilots were now flying in a regime where air turned into fire, and the smallest mistake could mean catastrophe. Yet every crash, every success pushed aviation further, laying the groundwork for a golden age of supersonic innovation that was just beginning. And soon, the race for speed would leave the military behind and take aim at the passengers themselves. By the early 1960s, supersonic flight was no longer just an experiment. It was a symbol of power. Nations raced to fly higher, faster, and farther than ever before. In this race, 3 aircraft would define the era, each for a different reason: intelligence, innovation, and imagination. At the height of the Cold War, secrecy was the new weapon. In 1966, the world's fastest jet took to the skies, the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, designed in total secrecy by Kelly Johnson's Skunk Works team. The Blackbird flew higher than missiles, faster than any fighter, Mach 3.3 at 85,000 feet. Its skin was made of titanium. Its fuel leaked on the ground because the metal expanded mid-flight. Every mission was a high-stakes dance above enemy territory. Too fast to catch, too high to hit. The Blackbird wasn't just an aircraft. It was a ghost, a supersonic eye in the sky. While the military chased secrets, the public chased dreams. In 1969, the Concorde took flight, a white dart built by Britain and France to make supersonic luxury a reality. It cruised at Mach 2, twice the speed of sound, carrying passengers from London to New York in just over 3 hours. Inside, caviar, champagne, and an aura of elite privilege. Outside, a technological masterpiece of delta wings and turbojet engines. But it was more than a plane. It was a statement, proof that humanity's reach had no limit. The Concorde's biggest rival wasn't another airline. It was another superpower. In 1968, the Soviet Union revealed the Tupolev Tu-144, often nicknamed the Concordski. It looked almost identical. Long nose, delta wings, Mach 2 speed. But its purpose was political as much as technological. The Tu-144 flew first, even before Concorde, but it was rushed, unstable, and plagued by tragedy. A crash at the 1973 Paris Air Show sealed its fate. Only a few ever carried passengers. The dream of supersonic travel had been realized, and yet it was already beginning to fracture. For a brief, shining moment, the world had mastered the skies. But soon, even the fastest planes on Earth would face forces they couldn't outrun.
By the 1970s, the supersonic dream faced turbulence, not in the skies, but on the ground. Governments and engineers envisioned dozens of new aircraft, each faster, larger, more ambitious than the last. In the United States, Boeing's 2707 supersonic transport promised to carry 300 passengers at Mach 2.7, nearly 3 times the speed of sound. It would make Concorde look slow, but the math didn't work. Noise restrictions, fuel crises, and rising environmental fears turned the dream into a political disaster. By 1971, the program was cancelled. Across the Soviet Union, the Sukhoi T-4, a sleek titanium bomber capable of Mach 3, made its first and only flight. It was stunning, experimental, and doomed. The oil shocks of the decade grounded more than just aircraft. They grounded ambition. Supersonic travel, once a symbol of human progress, had become a luxury the world could no longer afford. In through the 1980s and 90s, aviation changed course. Airlines no longer sold speed, they sold comfort, safety, and affordability. The Boeing 747 and Airbus A300 ruled the skies, flying millions of people slower but cheaper than ever before. Even in the military, priorities shifted. Dogfights gave way to radar and missiles. New fighters like the F-14 Tomcat, F-15 Eagle, and MiG-31 could still break the sound barrier, but only for moments. Supersonic speed was no longer the mission. It was a byproduct. The world that once glorified velocity began chasing invisibility. The next frontier was stealth. The era of heat and thunder gave way to one of silence and shadow. In 2003, Concorde made its final flight, a symbol of human daring. Retired not by failure, but by economics. The last supersonic passengers watched from the cabin windows as their jet dipped below Mach 1 for the final time. The skies fell silent. For the first time in half a century, no human on Earth could buy a ticket faster than sound, and yet the dream never truly died. Engineers, scattered across decades, continued to ask one question: what if we tried again? In the 21st century, a new generation began chasing that ghost once more. But this time, they had a new mission: to make speed sustainable. Today, the race for speed has returned, not with Cold War secrecy, but Silicon Valley ambition. Companies like Boom Supersonic, Hermeus, and NASA's X-59 are reimagining flight itself. The Boom Overture promises to fly at Mach 1.7, powered by sustainable fuels, designed to be as quiet as a whisper. The NASA X-59 QSST is built to tame the sonic boom, turning thunder into a soft thump that cities could one day accept. If they succeed, the sound of speed may return, not as noise, but as music. Supersonic flight may no longer be about ego or empire, but about connection, shrinking the world again without breaking it. From the Bell X-1 to Concorde, from titanium ghosts to futuristic dreamliners, every supersonic jet tells a part of the same story. A story of obsession. Humanity's desire to go faster has always been a mirror, reflecting not just what we can build, but what we believe possible. Some burned brightly and vanished. Others changed the world forever, but all of them, in their own way, broke through something, the limits of metal, of air, of imagination. And though the sound barrier was shattered long ago, the spirit behind it still echoes, because in the end, the race for speed was never about flight. It was about us.